We're good.
All right. Welcome, everybody. Colin's going to open us with prayer, and then I'll take it from there.
All right, let us go to God in prayer. Glorious God, we thank you for this evening. We thank you for this chance to gather in this space to learn about this ministry and mission. We pray that you just be with us, bless our presenters, bless those who will hear this, and watch over us all as we continue to walk in your path. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you. So I'm going to do something here, and hopefully this is going to work. I want to help everyone know something that's on our church website that you may not be aware of. It's been there for a while. We have just updated it. We will be updating some more of it, but I would like to tell you about it because it's all mission related. So I'm going to try and do that here. Okay, can you see that?
Yes.
All right. I think I needed to go backwards a little bit first. All right. So on our church website, if you go across the screen, you will see a missions tab. And if you go down the tab, you will see missions close to home, in the region, or throughout the world. This is one of our regional missions. So this is actually an updated entry that is on our website right now that I will let you look at later, but I wanted you to be aware of it. This is actually a picture from a couple of years ago in front of Prospect Center across the street from our church when we partner with Mayfair United Methodist. If you go down to this corner, you can actually click on this and it will take you to their website. So I wanted you to be aware of that. You can explore the website more later, but I wanted to give that a little bit of advertisement tonight. So that's something we added a couple of years ago, and we really didn't say very much about it. So a lot of people were involved in that. And I especially appreciate Mark Crow helping us with the map that I did not get into the map there. You can, there's a little link at the top of the page that you can click on and actually find all of our different missions on a map in different parts of the world. It's really cool. And we're going to be updating more of that this week. So let you play with that later. So it is my honor tonight to introduce our three speakers from Appalachian Miles for Smiles. And I would like to open it with just a little introduction to how I got involved in this. I've been on the Vision Council for United Way for this Health, Safety, and Stability Vision Council for many years, as part of the Hunger Task Force. And we were racking our brains to try to figure out how can we solve the problem of the great need for dental care that was in our region that was not being taken care of through the RAM events up in Southwest Virginia. And Bruce Seitz, who was the director for Friends in Need at the time, was helping us try to figure out what to do. And he had a friend named Frank Waldo. And Frank and Bruce would bring information to us. We actually okayed the name for Appalachian Miles for Smiles. I take little credit for anything to do with it because I was just there at the meetings and said, this all sounds great, as did the rest of us on the Vision Council. And so out of that effort came Appalachian Miles for Smiles. And Frank is certainly the key to that having happened. And he has a group that has worked with him. So I'm going to introduce our three speakers who are back in the back of their room there, and they're going to speak, and we could hear them very clearly. So that will not be a problem. But let me introduce our three. First, Frank Waldo. After completing a military tour in Vietnam, Frank Waldo moved to Kingsport, Tennessee in 1968. In 1970, he began a construction company in the residential market, building many homes in the Tri-Cities area. In 1984, he and his brother Dave began a fiber optic splicing company, which went on to be one of the premier splicing companies in America. Today, TeleOptics is one of the area's leading telecommunications companies and employs over 200 people. In 2014, Frank began a ministry that today is known as Appalachian Miles for Smiles, which operates mostly in Upper East Tennessee and Southwest Virginia, providing dental care and vision care for those who are uninsured or underinsured and cannot afford services. Appalachian Miles for Smiles is a faith-based ministry whose goal is to lift up the name of Jesus. Next, Michelle Campbell. Michelle grew up, and this is very interesting as I did not know this until recently. Michelle grew up and attended Waverly Road Presbyterian Church. Her fondest memory of Waverly Road is the birthday party for Jesus. She graduated from Dobbins-Bennett High School and then attended East Tennessee State University and the Academy of Ophthalmology. She moved to Knoxville in the mid-1980s to further her career in ophthalmology. Having 30 years of experience in ophthalmology, it has remained a passion for her. She moved back to Kingsport in 2010, knowing the Lord sent her home for a purpose, for his purpose. Working with Providence Medical Clinic for 7 years, serving the uninsured population in our area, has enhanced her call to serve with Appalachian Miles for Smiles. She now serves as the vision director and clinic coordinator. Michelle attends Harvest Community Church and is an active member of the Sunrise Emmaus community. She enjoys her quiet time with the Lord, being outdoors, fellowship with her close circle of friends, and attending Christian concerts. And now we have Devin Cradic, who is the dental director for Appalachian Miles for Smiles. Devin is a lifelong resident of Kingsport, Tennessee. He attended Sullivan South High School and received his degree from East Tennessee State University. He has been the dental director for Miles for Smiles since 2017. Recently married, Devin enjoys spending time with his new wife and family, traveling and staying active outdoors. So we welcome our friends from Appalachian Miles for Smiles. We have worked with them now for 4 years with Mayfair United Methodist Church as our partner. And it has been really at the end of the day, of the 2 days that we have had, we have felt like this was all worth it because we made a difference in people's lives. It's a very impressive mission. So I'm going to turn it over now to our friends and let you take it from here.
Well, thank you very much, and we appreciate the opportunity to present Appalachian Miles for Smiles to Waverly Road Presbyterian Church. As a matter of fact, one of the churches in the group, I forgot what it's called now with the Presbyterian churches, is Cedar View Presbyterian Church. And when that was down in Nelsontown, that's where I accepted the Lord a lot of years ago. And my father was an elder with the church up until the time he passed away. So we've known the Presbyterian church community for quite a while. And not to leave anything out of Mayfair Methodist, when I was a little boy, my grandmother always took me to church, and she took me to the Methodist church up in Bloomingdale, up in the hills up there, just a small one. And so we are familiar with both entities, and thank you so much for inviting us to share with you this evening. Just jumping into it with Miles for Smiles, I did a lot of work with RAM as we tried to reach out to people that needed help in dental and all the things that RAM does. And I did a lot of logistics for them in the different clinics around the area. And in one particular clinic, I was responsible for the logistics and getting the tents up and all the chairs and all the vendors in where they needed to be, and all the other peripheral things they needed, and locating the trailers where they needed to go in the trucks. And it was a Sunday morning, and I was going from one tent to the other, making sure everything was okay. And I heard this cry. Now, a lot of times you'll hear people cry from pain, but this was a mournful cry. And I mean, there was a lady, and she was just really crying. You could hear her all over the place. So I went down to investigate. And when I got down there, I understood we had some dentists that were doing just a phenomenal job treating people and taking care of him, but they were from Rochester, New York. And some of the preceptors for the students were pilots, and they had flown 3 of their smaller planes in with some of the students. And this was Sunday and the last day of the clinic, and we were expecting to go through the end of the day at least till 2 or 3 o'clock. But the weather was moving in, and the pilots told the staff there at RAM, we're not going to be able to stay. We've got to beat the weather out of here because these students have to be back to class on Monday. And this was Sunday night. And so they told them how many more patients they could see. And so they came out and they counted down the patients. And this lady was the last one that didn't get seen. There was several after her, but the one in front of her was the last person that they could see that day. She'd been there for 3 days, and she finally had gotten a ticket to get in. She'd finally gotten triaged and was sitting there fully expecting to get her dental issues taken care of. And it just broke her heart, and she broke out in that mournful cry. And upon finding out exactly what was going on, you couldn't talk to her. She was just so broken. So I eased around behind her and sat down in the chair and breathed a silent prayer. I said, Lord, if there's any way I can help these people, I will. Let me tell you, don't pray that prayer if you don't mean it. In 2 weeks, I was with Adele at a United Way meeting, and they were presenting to me this issue of the dental. I believe, Susan, there was 18,000 people have been identified that did not have access to adequate dental care. And they had been looking into this situation, I think, for 3 years. And they said, we're no closer today than we were when we began. And then looked at me and said, what would you do? Well, God had been working on me. I'd spent 20 years doing short-term mission trips to Central America, working on dental equipment, used equipment, broken equipment. And I had a pretty good idea of what you had to do to put a dental system together. And Dr. Joe Smitty and I had been talking about some sort of a unit that we could build that would be in the region and would be easy to set up after Ram or whoever else left, to try to see the people that, there's a lot of people that really need it. A lot of people just hurt and they're in pain. There's nowhere to go. They go to the emergency room, maybe get some pain pills, but nothing to help take care of their need, not with as great a need as had been identified. God had been working on me, and I had a vision of what you see today is the big trailer, the tractor trailer rig that we have now. And I kept getting this vision, and I kept seeing it, and I saw where to mount the equipment. I saw the systems. I could even see the color of it. And so when they presented this to me at United Way, I just looked towards heaven and I said, God, I get it. And that's what I presented. What you know today is Appalachian Miles for Smiles. I presented that to United Way. And United Way said, well, that sounds okay. Let us think about it. And they sent me away. And about 2 weeks later, I believe, Susan, I got a call, and they wanted me to come back and talk to them. They said, we really like your idea of a mobile unit that can go throughout the community, set up in different places, and see patients and have volunteer dentists come on board and provide the dental care that these people so greatly need. And we could do it at no cost to the patients because we would be using volunteer help. And United Way said, we kind of like that. We'll help you. If you'll build it, we'll help support you. And their first money that they gave me to start with was $10,000. But now that was huge, because you think about it, this is an idea, and they're taking money that they're really responsible for, and they entrusted me with that kind of money, and I gave them an idea. And so the pressure was on me to make that a reality, because they trusted me enough to give me that money. And so God took over And what was on the market today for maybe $1 million, when we look at them out there trying to, if they did not custom build them, we built that trailer for $250,000, and all of that was donated from the community. One person donated the generator, or one company donated the generator, another company donated something else, another company, and another piece of it, and then different local civic organizations got involved, and they would donate pieces and parts of it. Some organizations, like a couple of the banks, they donated some money, and that was huge because it allowed us to buy some of the equipment that was not being donated. So anyway, the community came together, and what you see today is Appalachian Miles for Smiles. With that being said, some of the help that we got was from Cigna. That was a slide on that one. Maybe. There's the trailer that we started with. You're getting a view of that one. Now that trailer was donated by Scott Nicewarner. I was looking for a used trailer anywhere. I went to Food City, I went to everybody, and I was looking for a used trailer to be our platform that we could start on. I couldn't find one anywhere. I asked Dr. Joe if he would go talk to Scott. I knew Scott, but I think Joe knew him a little better than I did. We're asking him for this. And well, we were asking him for a used trailer. And within a few weeks, he indicated that there was a new trailer sitting down in Knoxville and for us to go get it. And that's what we found. The brand new 53-foot air ride equipped custom made trailer. No one had ever owned it. No one had ever used it. And so we got busy, and the door you see on the side of it was the first improvement we made. So we'd have an exit door. So we had more than one means of ingress and egress out of that trailer. And construction began, and there was a lot of unique things that we put into it. I think the next slide, just to tell you one of them, some of the thought process that went into it. Looks like a normal drop ceiling grid up there. But we knew when this trailer was going up and down the highway that those sidewalls were going to pump in and out. So the ceiling grid is designed from a earthquake area, the seismic type of ceilings that you would put in something that's an earthquake area, in an earthquake area, so that when it goes down the road, the walls move, but that ceiling grid stays still. And the ceiling tiles have never fallen out of it. That was one of the big tests the first time we got on the road. Was, are we going to lose those ceiling tiles? Are they going to fall out? Because we wanted to design this thing and we wanted to make it look good. When you came into this trailer, you got no less service than what you would get if you went into any of the great dental offices that we have in the area. And we wanted it to look good because this was for Jesus. So we didn't shortcut anything, but we were very frugal in the way that we built it. And so that just that theme carried through the entire building of the unit. And there's a couple of shots of the construction. I could even see that blue color. I knew what color I wanted to blue. You have that next one. And we even matched the chairs with the blue that was on the countertop. Took them down to Kingsport Trim Shop. These are all donated chairs. Everything you see in there except the 8X was donated, used. And so we took the used dental chairs that we had and had them all covered to match the blue because we wanted it to look good even though we had used equipment. And that's part of the history of the dental trailer, the first one. We got Cigna's attention at Bristol Motor Speedway when we did an event up there with the Speedway Children's Ministry and Claudia Bird. And the Cigna Foundation came in and they said, we really like what you're doing. And they gave us $50,000 for 3 years to get us up and running, to get us off the ground. And they donated a trailer for us that's similar to this one right here. And so we were delighted because we were able to make this trailer and be able to pull it and get it into some of the tighter areas that we weren't able to use our big trailer. And also, this one gave us 4 more chairs. We've converted it, and we have 3 chairs in it and a pan X-ray. The big trailer, God's been good to us. He gave us a panoramic X-ray for it as well. And those are expensive, and those were donated to us. They were used, but they were great, and they've been working for us ever since the beginning. So God has just reached out to us and touched people's hearts to donate what we needed when we needed it. And this one, you can see there in the background, the bigger trailer, the Miles for Smiles, that 53-footer. This one's nearly as long, but it comes and goes and gets into the smaller areas, and it doesn't take as much fuel to pull this one. What's the next slide? Okay, now the next part of our build out and part of Appalachian Miles for Smiles was vision. As we began to start our vision program, which was always part of what we wanted to do, Cigna came alongside and donated a second trailer to us. After they saw what we did with the first one, build out on it, they gave us the second trailer. They were going to give it to another group somewhere, but then they decided, no, we really needed it. And so I got busy designing the vision trailer, and what we had gutted down, and I had an idea of how we were going to build that trailer back. I didn't know anything about vision. And so I got my pencil out and I started designing, and I thought, now I have got this laid out. This is going to work great. And then I called on this lady over here, Michelle Campbell, who I knew from Providence. And she has all these years of experience in vision. And I said, I want you to look at what we're doing up here, because she had her patients on the dental trailer. And I said, I'm trying to put this vision trailer together. Will you come look at it for me? And I was thinking I had this thing lined out. She sat down, she looked at it, and she said, this will not work at all. I said, oh, okay. And she began to tell me why and how it would work. And she began to teach me about vision and about the instruments and everything that I needed to know, not everything about vision, but everything that I needed to know to be able to build the vision trailer, so it would be something that was very user-friendly, and it would work, and we could get it in and out of locations, and it turned out to be a shining star as well. And I don't know what my next slide looks like. Let's see. Okay, there's part of it on the left side of your screen is part of it while it was under construction, and the right-hand side is a little bit farther along. But we started using that unit right away, even before it was finished, before it had all the equipment on the walls. And but that's sort of the history of how we got started and where we are. As far as equipment goes today, we were able to, Cigna helped us buy some equipment, and then we had one more grant from United Health, helped us with another grant to purchase all of the vision equipment that you see in these pictures. And so God was moving his hand all the time, and now we have 4 trailers that are set up. We have 3 that are set up for dental, 1 that's set up for vision, and our schedule is full. We just can't see. We can't schedule anything else. There's no time left. So we're running flat out. So I'll turn this one over to another slide there, and we'll go to dental. There we go. And now this will be Devin Cradic, who's been the dental director for, I started in 2014, trying to build all this. 2016 is when we put it together and started having our first clinics. And Devin came on in 2017 as our dental director. And I'll turn that over to him now and talk a little bit about dental and what has been accomplished. He's a great young man, just phenomenal.
You can keep talking about that if you'd like.
Okay, I'm looking for patient.
Thank you all for
We don't
having
get
us tonight. We really appreciate your time. As Frank mentioned, Appalachian Miles for Smiles Dental began seeing patients in early 2017. At that time, we had the one full-size trailer with 5 chairs on board. We've expanded since then to where we now have 3 mobile units. The original mobile unit now has 4 dental chairs. We removed one of the chairs in order to add a panoramic X-ray machine. Every patient that we treat will have a full mouth panoramic X-ray before they are sat in the dentist chair. Our second mobile unit, which we've had about 4 years now, it has 3 chairs and another panoramic X-ray. And our third mobile unit, we acquired that about 2 years ago. It has 2 chairs on it. So we have the capacity to be able to provide at any location up to 9 dental chairs if needed. As you can see, over the past 6 years, we've treated over 7,000 patients in our community and surrounding areas, giving back over $4.3 million in free dental care during that time. We provide exams, cleanings, fillings, and extractions. And thanks to our recent partnership with the new Lincoln Memorial University Dental School, we're now able to make dentures, which has been very exciting for us and our patients. I can get more in depth with what exactly we provide in just a minute. I just want to give a quick overview of what our process is and what the patients can expect when they come to see us. All of our events we hold are by appointment only. When they arrive the day of their appointment, they'll fill out a new patient packet, which includes consent forms. We ask for their medical history, any allergies they may have, pre-existing conditions, any medications they're on, especially blood thinners if they're there to have a tooth extracted. After they've completed that, they'll be triaged by one of our volunteer nurses. The nurse will verify their medical history and we'll get a check of their blood pressure and glucose level. Those readings are important, whether they're getting dental or vision, those are important readings. We also, thanks to the Lions Club, have the ability to check someone's A1C on site if that is needed as well. Once the patient has been triaged, they're ready to come onto the dental trailer. That's when we take their X-ray and get them in the chair ready for the dentist. So when the dentist is ready to see the patient, they have in front of them the patient's full medical history and an X-ray to work off of. Basically the same thing you would find in your typical private practice dental office. As I mentioned, last summer, we partnered with the new LMU Dental School, which just opened its first class this past fall. They've been wonderful partners to work with. When the students begin their 3rd year in the program, they'll be doing clinicals out at various locations throughout the community, and we are going to be one of those locations. The school will send out a group of students along with instructors, and with the instructors' guidance, they'll be able to treat patients for us, which will drastically increase our capacity of the amount of people we can serve in our community. We also have now 1 dentist, 1 hygienist, and 1 dental assistant employed by LMU working full-time for us right now here in Kingsport. So without having to rely only on volunteers, we're now 4 days a week, every week out there seeing patients. That is Dr. Patel, Jennifer, and Teresa, and they're all wonderful. We're all a little bit crazy, but that's okay because it works for us. Here's a breakdown of the work our dental department has done since 2017. As I said, we've seen over 7,000 patients during that time. We've extracted nearly 14,000 teeth that were unrestorable and causing pain. Over 1,800 fillings, over 2,000 cleanings, all totaling about $4.3 million worth of services given back. And at the end of this past year, we can now offer dentures to our patients as well. We do the impressions and the wax rims all in-house and then send it off to the lab to be finished. And after the whole process, which takes about a month and about 5 visits, we get smiles back. Here is the work that's been done just since last August when our partnership with LMU began. This is only a 6-month period, and as you can see, we've been able to reach so many more people than we could in the past, and we think with this partnership, that's only going to get better as time goes. I will end by showing you some pictures of our denture patients. Friday has sort of become our unofficial denture day. It's a great way to end the week, giving people their smiles back. And we're just grateful to have the opportunity to provide this new service for them. It's been a long time coming, and we're just so grateful. That's a little bit about the dental history and our dental program. I'll turn it over to Michelle Campbell now to talk a little bit about vision.
I'm just going to back up exactly what Frank and Devin said regarding the invitation to speak with you guys. As you can tell, we all are pretty passionate about what we do, and so thank you for allowing this opportunity to tell you all a little bit about it. I need to go back.
Do it right click. There you go. You did
That's
it.
okay. So as Devin was talking about the patients when they first come in, we also, before they even get on the premises, ever since COVID came about, we have 2 nurses that volunteer every clinic for us, and they do a 15-minute rapid COVID test before the patients even come onto the premises. I call that an extra insurance policy for all of us, because we do work in such close vicinities in the dental and the vision trailers. So that's just been just a bonus for us. I think we probably have turned away maybe 6 to 10 people in what, 2 years, maybe? Probably not even a dozen, but one of those people, had they come onto the premises, could have infected everyone. So again, just very grateful we've had that opportunity. And then as with dental patients, the vision patients also receive a packet, and Devin and I worked hard to try to get these comparable to where it was all very uniformed and consistent. So they fill out the same paperwork. They also sign consents, record release consents. Then they also will go to the nurses that are volunteering, and we again have been blessed with ETSU pharmacology department that they volunteer every clinic, and they bring their students. So they are the ones that will perform the blood sugars, blood pressure, A1Cs. And then when they can't be there, we have a nice group of volunteer RNs that will come and fill in and do the same thing. So once they have filled out their paperwork, triaged, have those tests run, then they are ready to come onto the trailer. And as you can see, this is us in action. So you have one bay area where we do pre-screening, and then they'll come to me for refractions. And then the last one is for the doctor. And then we always have someone there that after they've completed their exam, then they take them right back to optical. So this equipment, again, we were so blessed to have received that grant in order to buy the state-of-the-art equipment. So once they have had their eye exam, then they will go to the optical department. Our frames have been donated to us, not just regular frames, but we have designer frames, which are just beautiful frames. And the patient gets to pick out the frame that they want, and I call that they take ownership of their own needs and what they're going to look like. Yes, we have guidance by our opticians to make sure that their prescription will fit into those frames, but it really has been a huge, huge confidence builder for them to be able to pick the ones that they want. So once they have picked out their glasses, then they are ready to leave the area. I will back up here for a minute. So when we're examining our patients, of course, we know that we're going to be finding cataracts, patients that need cataract surgery. We have diagnosed probably at least 12 to 15 patients just in 2022 that had glaucoma, which glaucoma is a silent killer, so to speak. People will go blind from glaucoma before they ever know that they have it. So by building relationships and throughout our community, we've been able to refer our patients for cataract surgery, for glaucoma evaluations. Also, we see a lot of diabetic patients. Several of the patients have diabetic retinopathy, so we're able to refer those patients as well. As far as the cost for these, like for cataract surgery, it all depends on what their household income is. And I do know that we've had several patients that have been able to receive the cataract surgery at no charge. So that has a huge blessing, because we're not just seeing the patient and then just saying, hey, here's what you have, and leaving them. We're saying, hey, we're gonna go ahead and get you where you need to go. Also, when we are triaging our patients and we find that they may have high blood pressure, high blood sugar, we have a valid navigator that also attends our clinics that is able to process their information and get them seen by a primary care physician. Project Access also comes with us, and they are a liaison for patients that may need other types of services, like neurology. So let's say that we find something in an eye exam and they need a neurologist. They're able to be that liaison to be able to get them where they need to go. So again, we just don't want to leave a patient hanging to say, hey, this is what you have. We want to complete it from beginning to end. That also applies for dental. They've been also have a gentleman that's an oral surgeon that will see their patients. So it's a holistic view of care for our patients. You'll find that transportation is a huge obstacle for all of them, the majority of them. So we try to do the most that we can in one visit. That also includes valid mammogram unit, and it comes on board as well with us, and they do mammograms. Now with those patients, if they have insurance, they'll file their insurance. If they don't, then they're still going to see them. Also, there has been several cases of breast cancer diagnosed right there on those, by having a mammogram right there at the clinics. Dr. Joe Smitty, you heard Frank mention him. He brings his state-of-the-art unit, a pulmonary unit, and he will do pulmonary consultations, especially on our post-COVID patients. And that there too has been a real game changer for so many people. We were able to receive donations to build out an eye lab. And so we are able to make what prescriptions that we can here in the warehouse at Teleoptics. So that's where our lab is. And so this is the construction of that. I remember walking in and I was looking for an area for us to create a lab. And I looked at Frank one day and I said, I found our area. And he said, where? And I told him, and it was packed sky high with other things. So
It's a mechanic shop.
so we turned a mechanic shop into an eye lab. So right here, you can see the totals. When Frank hired me in 2020, he said, I need somebody to take the vision unit and run with it. So I said, I will do that for you. And 2018, we were able to see 16 patients, 2019, 84. 2020, we jumped to 381, 2021, 500. And then into 2022, we saw over 700 patients. We made 741 pairs of glasses last year. There's a lot of glasses. And the way that we average the value back to our community is, for this demographic area, they will have average cost on all the services. So that's how we come up with our totals. We are probably under, most of them, we go under instead of over. So from 2017 to the end of last year, this is what we have been able to give back to all the communities where we have had clinics, which is significant. And I will add, with a budget of what, 89,000?
$89,000.
$89,000 budget, and this is what we've been able to do. This is what God has done for us, and our community has just been tremendous in the support that they've given us, not just here, but Tazewell, Greenville. I mean, just we went to Cradic, West of Virginia last summer to see a lot of patients that had lost their glasses through the flooding. So all this stems from just a uniting of our whole city. So let me tell you about our volunteers. Let me see if I get through it without crying. We absolutely could not do this without the volunteers. And every clinic morning, we start with prayer. And it's all I can do not to just hit my knees, praising God for everybody that's there at 7:30 in the morning, volunteering their time to see patients. You guys can probably see a lot of familiar faces here. Our vision providers are all volunteers. So that has just been wonderful to have just this core group of volunteers that come along with us. The girls that work in the optical department, there's a core group there that follow us. Charlie Sorrell, I don't know if you see his picture, he's with us every single clinic. It's just, again, it's just amazing. We have this young lady down here in the corner, Deborah Ketron, and she will talk to our patients that have TennCare or Medicare, and she has been able to help the patient get more services through their insurance that they didn't even know they had. So she's been a huge asset to us and to the patients. The different areas that we go to, which majority are the churches, and Susan, you can vouch for this. Every congregation will have a group of volunteers that will come out and help us as well. They also feed us. They have lunch for the clinics. So that has been wonderful. Again, I can't say enough about our volunteers. We just could not do it without them. And if you'll look at the hours that the volunteers put in just last year, it's there again, it's just such a blessing. You heard me mention Ballad and their mobile unit, the health wagon, that's Dr. Smitty's pulmonary unit. We will eventually have the new Ballad Women's Health unit coming with us. They're in the process of hiring a nurse, and once they hire a nurse, then they'll start coming with us as well. There again, just another service that we can offer these patients. One thing that I can say across the board with the three of us and the volunteers is we just love people. We love on them. We want them to know that they matter, that they're not just a number that comes through our door, that we care about them. And now, as Devin was talking about with the dentures, we've had several patients receive dentures and glasses. Total game changer for their life. They've been able to get jobs now. Again, a huge confidence booster for them. Just a blessing. The gratitude that comes from our patients is off the charts. I mean, we have some people that will come and volunteer that have secular jobs, and they say they come to volunteer with us just to be restored and refilled with the goodness of God and what He does for others. So that's what we do, and we're blessed. You want to add anything?
No, I think your tears say it all.
No, but cry. Tears of joy. Thank you for letting us share about our ministry and what God is doing here in our community and all around.
Thank you. So we have some time now for questions, if anybody has a question. And before we do that, I'm going to let you know that we will be again hosting an event this year will be 3 days, 11th, 12th, and 13th. Again with Mayfair, that's already in the works. So if you would like to be involved this year, Brenda Fox is actually going to coordinate that, and I'll be backing her up. So if you'd like to be involved, let us know. So does anybody have any questions for our group? Peter?
Just a couple of statistics jumped out at me. One is you're making more pairs of eyeglasses than you are doing eye exams. Maybe a little bit of explanation. I'm also amazed that you had 7,000 encounters for dental and 13,000 extractions. So on average, every patient that comes to you has 2 teeth extracted. I just like for you guys to comment on what you see.
On as far as having made more glasses, we will take prescriptions, people that have had a prescription from somewhere else and they can't afford their glasses, then we'll take that prescription and we will make glasses for them at no charge. We have actually been able to make glasses for several children that have not been able to have TennCare pay for anymore for whatever reason. So we were again blessed with children's glasses, so we have been able to do that. So just wherever they come from, if we can help them, we're going to help them.
Okay, thank you.
The
I have a
dental,
question.
Go ahead, Betsy.
I have a question for Frank. I want to know, the weeping lady, was she served?
The lady that, she was given papers that put her first in line at the next clinic.
No, okay,
No one left
thank
there.
you.
She was given papers, the pink paper had been signed. She didn't have to do anything except show up, and she went first to the dental chair.
Great, thank you.
Devin, you want to finish commenting on?
I was just going to say, there was a
Number of
question
people.
about the number of extractions. We've pulled almost 14,000 teeth in the past 6 years. A lot of people we see just have not ever been to a dentist. They've never been taught how to brush their teeth. They need full mouth extractions and dentures. So on some patients, it's not uncommon for us to pull 10, 15, 20 teeth in one visit on one patient.
We are in the heart of the opioid epidemic area, and opioids take its toll on people's teeth. They just really start falling out. So we have to treat a lot of people that their whole mouth, their teeth are gone, and they're just bits and pieces, and they're broke off. So it's not anything to see somebody that doesn't have one good tooth in their mouth. So the teeth we extract are unsavable teeth. These teeth are beyond root canals or anything else. We won't touch a tooth that can be saved as far as extracting it, just to get the pain away. If a tooth is a savable tooth, we won't extract it. But
Thank you.
there's
That I hadn't put that together. Another measure might be, just for your statistics, of just what you told us here, is that how many patients have had, say, more than 5 or 10 extracted? Because as an extension of the opioid crisis, I've never put those two together, but thank you.
I would like to ask you to clarify. I know that there are a lot of other smaller tests done when a patient comes in, because I've been a part of that. You do blood pressure, you do blood sugar checks, A1C. Would you like to say something about that? Because you're doing more than just the things you've already mentioned.
As I referred to earlier, when we do blood sugar,
Yeah.
pressure, and A1Cs, it also is a red flag with the ones that have the higher readings. And with that comes getting them in to see a primary care physician. So that there again has been a piece to the puzzle that we've tried to put together, and now are able to do that thanks to ETSU, Ballad, and also Project Access.
and a lot of support from the Lions Club that helps us with the purchase
The
of
A1C, yes.
A1C cartridges, so that we can confirm the A1C reading of some of these patients, and we can forward that on to the physician that they're being referred to.
Okay, other questions?
So
Karen?
how do you decide where to hold the mobile clinics, and how do you advertise that to the potential clients that might need to come?
Well, the host groups that host us, in the beginning, we were searching for places to set up, and churches with big parking lots became a target for me. And knowing a lot of the pastors in the area, I just started asking pastors. I said, would you be interested, because we're an extension of your ministry, because when we come, that's an opportunity for you to either visit the community that's around you, to tell them what's coming and what's that we're going to be there. It gives you a chance to knock on doors and get to know maybe people that you haven't knocked on their doors in a long time. But however they want to use us, we're an extension of their ministry. And so the advertising and so forth, and it was just a natural fit because we're trying to lift up the name of Jesus. And so partnering with churches, I mean, I don't know whether there's any better cooks. Yeah. And that's the only thing we really ask from the church, other than just to use their facilities, is to feed our little group of volunteers lunch, and that's been wonderful. But that's kind of where it is, and then we are inundated with calls for people that want us to come and put clinics on for them, and there's not any more weeks left in the year. Down the road, if we have an influx of volunteers, then perhaps we can do simultaneous clinics. We could be having clinics in different locations at the same time. The equipment's just about to the point where we can do that, but the volunteers are a long way off having enough people to do that.
More questions?
I have one, and I might have just missed it. But on average, how many days a month are you guys out there doing services?
At the moment, the dental unit is out 4 days a week, every week. And then our large clinics, we try to do a large clinic every other week. There's just so much logistics involved in putting the large clinics on and coordinating all the people that are providing the services. So about every 2 weeks, every other week, we do one of the large clinics, and then we're doing a smaller dental clinic 4 days out of the week.
Wow. Thank you.
I was gonna say, I saw one of your units on Bloomingdale today at one of the churches on Bloomingdale Pike.
That was us. We're over at Harmony Church Missions in Bloomingdale right now.
I drove right by.
You should have stopped and said hello.
Yeah, come say hi.
I was on my way to somebody's house, or I would have. Anybody else have questions for them?
So who donates the frames for the glasses?
They've come from several different places. The last, 4 boxes that we received was from Kentucky. And they had reached out to Ram and wanted to know if they wanted them, and they did not. So they contacted Frank, and Frank went up there and picked them up. And I'm telling you, they're all designer frames. They're beautiful.
Wow.
We also have a company called iBuy Direct, and people that have, it's an online purchase your glasses, and people who like maybe never paid for them, they didn't want them for whatever reason, then they were just ready to throw them away. And we went, no, we can take those. What we do is we pop out the lenses, we pop out their prescription. They've never been worn, and that way we can use those as well. So it's just been a blessing. It really has. And then Southern Optics, it's a branch off of SLR. They donated some lenses with prescriptions in them so that we could make the glasses, like I said, in our warehouse here on Optics property.
Your life.
Yeah, our lab. So again, the donations have just been a blessing. And when we can't make the ones there, you heard me say we have a company that will make them for us at no charge. So when we first started out, when I first came on board, we were trying to pay for some of the ones that we couldn't make, and it got to be quite expensive within about a month. So I was introduced to this company, and it is SLR company, that if the patient is at 200% below poverty guidelines, they will make the glasses at no charge. Probably 99.9% of our patients fall at that 200% below poverty guidelines. So that has been a huge blessing to us to be able to send the glasses out to have them made. at no charge.
When we first were hosting one of the events, that's when I met Devin, and that was just dental. And I remember we had to call and make the appointments. That was a lot of volunteer time, and I'm so thankful that that you are taking care of all that now. That is a lot more, it's a lot easier for us to host it. So thank you for all of the work you do on your end to prepare for those events.
There is a huge amount of time that goes into it. These two work tirelessly, lining up patients, and you know firsthand as you.
Yeah, that Amy was taking those calls at the church office. So that, yes. Martha, you had a question.
I do. What a wonderful ministry. Just God bless you guys. But I'm wondering what's on your wish list? Equipment, sounded like maybe more volunteers. What do you hope for going forward?
We have, Devin is, as Susan saw, they have their trailer at Harmony Church Mission. They have been just a tremendous blessing to us because they can park over there and do their dental. They also have given us access to rooms inside the church. So that's where their denture lab is. Also, there are 2 rooms over there for vision. So we're trying to get equipment to be able to equip those rooms. So when cold weather comes and we can't take our trailers out, that we don't have to totally shut down the vision part of it. So I know that's on my wish list.
That's true.
Yes, to be able to equip those rooms over there. You have a wish list?
Anything on yours?
I have a wish list about a mile long. And, we always come up with what we need. Probably number 1 on my list now, and I believe we might have a lead on a new panoramic X-ray that we can put on our 3rd mobile units. That would probably be near the top of my list right now. And like Frank and Michelle mentioned, more volunteers. We always need more volunteers.
Okay, any other questions? We thank you for joining us tonight and sharing your story. And again, this is being recorded. It will be shared beyond this group here. And we're just very thankful for the call you heard to minister to these people who are hurting in our community and in our region. And thank you for the listening to God's call and to following his guidance. So if you will bow your heads, I will close this with prayer. Lord, thank you for Michelle, Devin, and Frank. Thank you for the work that they are doing in your name. Thank you for the people who work with them, the volunteers, the medical community who give of their time and their talent to make a difference in people's lives. Thank you for the partnership we have shared with Mayfair United Methodist, our neighbors, and for the work we have been able to do the last 4 years with another one coming up. We thank you for that opportunity to serve in our community in this way. Thank you for all of us who have been involved. Thank you for those who will be involved. We pray that you will touch the hearts of those who need to volunteer so that we can continue to grow this ministry through Appalachian Miles for Smiles. Thank you for the blessings that have come from this ministry. Thank you for the blessings that will be in the future. In your son's precious name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you.
Thank you all
Thank
for
you
coming
all.
tonight.
Thank you.
God
Thank
bless.
you.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.